Welcome to koam-presents, a podcast produced by KOAM News Now and the 4 states' most watched news team.
Neosho Memorial in Chanute welcomes another outstanding general surgeon to its surgery center. Dr. Law joins surgeons in the field of urology, orthopedics, women's health, and general surgery. Neosho Memorial in Chanute, offering the latest technology close to home.
The advisors at McGavran Financial Group have been helping people invest today for a more enjoyable tomorrow since 1984. In Joplin, see Earl or Mike. In Pittsburgh, see Earl or Steve. McGavran Financial Group. Invest today, enjoy tomorrow.
All right, welcome in, everybody. It is week 4 of the Pigskin podcast. On today's episode, what a week, especially in Southwest Missouri, with big wins for Seneca and McDonald County. Baxter, Springs, and Parsons keep rolling. Both of them are undefeated. They're going to meet up on Friday night in Parsons, and Pittsburgh State gets to 3-0. Missouri Southern blows out Central Oklahoma. Offense got going a little bit. We're going to talk about that with head coach at T-Bro Bradley. Before we get started, I want to thank our sponsors, Jock's Niche, Carnes Pro Tire, Neosho Memorial Regional Medical Center, and McGavran Financial Group. Thanks so much to those businesses for their support. Of course, we wouldn't be doing this without them. We got a lot to get to. We're not wasting any time. Let's go. All right, this is week 5 in Missouri and Oklahoma, week 4 for high school football in Southeast Kansas, and shoot, what a week that was. I got to be honest. We have, I've talked about our huge spreadsheet every week on here of all the games that are happening in the area, and I thought the schedule was pretty top-heavy last week. I thought, okay, there's a couple good games, and it turned out to be one of the coolest weeks of games, particularly in Southwest Missouri last week. It was super exciting. We had some upsets. We had some close games. It was a lot of fun. Before we get to football, I have to touch on this. Normally, we record this thing on a Tuesday night, and then we put it out on Wednesday. We're actually recording this on Wednesday because I was on the road. I was gone last night. Don't tell. But I went to a Pearl Jam concert in Oklahoma City, and I don't know how many people are fans of Pearl Jam that are going to be listening to this. I mean, we might have like 6 people who understand what I'm talking about, but I couldn't miss it. I've seen Pearl Jam once in Wrigley in 2016. It's my favorite band of all time. It's my favorite genre of music. I just couldn't miss it. And if you know Pearl Jam, I don't know if you know the song Garden. That's what they open with. And listen, I cried. There, I said it. I got a little teary when they started. I'm a crier. What do you want? I love them. Okay? That's where I was. But we're back. I didn't get a lot of sleep. We drove to Oklahoma City Tuesday night. We drove back Tuesday night, or I guess what's probably considered Wednesday morning, obviously. But we're here. We're here, and that's what matters. So let's get into it. The Seneca Indians, 36-33 over Lamar. Man, that's the biggest win for Seneca since I started this job 7 or 8 years ago. Indians now 4-0. Lamar is 3-1. Seneca was number 5 in the state in the Class 2 state rankings going into that matchup. Lamar was number 1. Now, after that win, Seneca has moved up to a tie for 2 in the state rankings, while Lamar slips to 4. Seneca is going to be at Monette this week. Lamar will be at home against East Newton. Another one that caught my attention, McDonald County, 27-26 over Nevada. I'm not going to lie. When I looked at Nevada's schedule, and if you looked at the Pigskin preview, which I hope you did, if you haven't, finish this episode, and if you're on our website, click back and go to the Pig, check it out. We put a lot of work into it. So I had Nevada in there for one loss, and I thought that would be the Lamar game. And even that one, I was like, Nevada's got a chance. I thought that was a toss-up game. But McDonald County gets a win at home, 27-26 over Nevada. I've told people, not on this podcast or just off camera, people, in the last couple of years, McDonald County has kind of found their footing and been really good. And won some big games. And, last year was a historic win or a historic season for the program. I think it was the most wins, furthest they'd gone in program history. When I started this job, that's not how it was at McDonald County High School. They were 0-10. Like, I started in, I think, full-time covering sports here in 15. So they were 1-9 in 2015 and then went 0-10 in 2016. So that was my first impression of McDonald County high school football. And sometimes you go into that season in 15 and 16, and it was tough. They played East Newton, I think, toward the end of the season, if I remember correctly, and it was like, somebody's getting their first and only win of the season. So it's been super, super cool for me Just that's one of the cool things about doing this job for 7 or 8 years is, getting to see some of these programs turn it around. I like this program a lot. I like Coach Hoover. I like the kids. They've been good. They've been good in other sports in my time here. It's so nice to see them figure it out on the football field. And I root for everybody in our area. That's just the better our teams are, the better it is for me, and the more people that want to listen to me talk about them. So McDonald County being good it's awesome. I love seeing them do well, especially given the way that given where the program was when I started here. Now the game I was at last week, Joplin beat Webb City 24-8. It's their fourth consecutive win against Webb City. Who does that? Nobody does. Nobody beats Webb City 4 times in a row. Quinn Renfro, 16 carries, 106 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Bennett Dahl, of course, on defense, had a pair of interceptions. And Drew Van Gilder, defensive player, linebacker for Joplin. I really like watching this kid play. 15 tackles. He's had at least 15 tackles in every single game Joplin has played. 4 games. He had 20 tackles last week, 15 tackles in their game against Webb City. He's one of those guys, I can't lie to you. When I go out to football games, I rarely find myself watching a defensive player or, like an offensive lineman or defensive lineman. But every once in a while, as a defensive player, a D lineman that I like to watch, and this dude is one of them. He kind of reminds me of, some of you guys might remember this guy, Colby Hall, was a Lamar kid that played at Pittsburgh State. You see him on the sideline or see him outside of football, and it's like, hey, how you doing? Hey, man, good. And then they get on the field, and they're it's like different people, man. He's a tough kid. He's I don't want to say violent. He had a couple hits in that Webb City game that may be behind the camera. If you pull the audio up, you probably hear me going, "Oh, shoot!" Anyway, I love watching him play. Joplin remains unbeaten this season. They huge game, the biggest game of the season so far for Joplin. They're on the road against Nixa this Friday. And now to Southeast Kansas, I have to start here. I don't think we've given this team the proper love so far. Field Kinley, Coffeyville, they beat Columbus 34-19 last week. And in the last few years, Field Kinley is, you've seen the guys the last few years. They've had talent, they've had speed, have had good players, and it's awesome watching them put it all together. It really seems like they have. They're 3-0 for the first time since 2013. And Baxter Springs, again, we've done this thing 4 times. I think we've talked about Baxter Springs 4 times in 4 podcasts, and I didn't think we would be doing that. I'm not gonna lie, but they got players. They're 3-0 for the first. Last time on this podcast we talked about them being 2-0 for the first time since 2009, and I said, I talked about where I was in 2009, and I was a freshman in college, and yada yada yada. So now they're 3-0 for the first time since 1996. So just to humor the audience, because people brought this up last time I talked about this. Yes, last time they were 3-0, I was in kindergarten. I was in Miss Schaefer's class, pretending I was sick all the time so I could go home because I didn't want to be in school. I did that pretty much throughout elementary school, but it's just the way it is. It's been a long time since they were off to this hot of a start. 3-0, first time since 1996, and this week they're going to play the Parsons Vikings. The Vikings are also 3-0. They're so much fun to watch. They've had offensive weapons. Again, if you're a Southeast Kansas football fan or if you're a Parsons football fan, you've seen some of the guys who have come through that program in the last few years. They've had good players. Parsons always has good athletes. They have offensive weapons. This might be the best group of offensive weapons that they've had here. They've certainly gotten off to a hot start this year. So it's Baxter Springs and Parsons this week. Both teams 3-0, meeting this Friday in Parsons. I know we'll be there. You can check out our highlights on KOM at 10 and Press Box at 11 on Friday night. Now we're going to talk college football next. Missouri Southern 2-1 after blowing out Central Oklahoma last week, 40-21. It's nice to see them get going. I've said it here before. I've said it all season, and to anybody who would listen to me, which, I don't know, 10? I don't know who listens to me. But I told you that this is my favorite Missouri Southern team since I've been here, since I started this job in 2015. I'm so happy to see them get off to the start that they're off to. I love Coach Bradley. He's he feels like the perfect fit. It's great to see them get off to a good start this year. Head coach Atiba Bradley, he's going to join us right here next to talk about this season and other things, plus their big matchup with Fort Hays State this weekend after this.
Rough Country is at Carnes Pro Tire. Complement your truck or Jeep with a new Rough Country lift kit or protect your truck with a retractable or tri-fold bed cover. Only at Carnes Pro Tire and Auto Center, just south of Baxter Springs.
Did you know that Jock Stitch Sporting Goods can provide your team with fully custom uniforms? With over 35 years of experience, the experts at Jock Stitch can set your team up with the best-looking uniforms and apparel at the most competitive price possible. Specializing in discounts for your school, booster club, coaching staff, club teams, or business, you won't find a better solution. See how Jock Stitch can help your team at the corner of 6th and Broadway in downtown Pittsburgh or online at jocksnitch.com.
Sporting goods from Jock Snitch.
All right, we're joined now by Missouri Southern head coach Atiba Bradley. Of course, the Lions off to a 2-1 start now. Coach, before we get to football, I started this podcast off. I was at a Pearl Jam concert last night.
Pearl Jam.
Yeah, I love Pearl Jam.
Jam.
Yes. Do you like Pearl Jam?
I love all music, and anything from pretty much 89 to 2002 is in my wheelhouse. This new age stuff, I don't quite get on page with, but when you talk Pearl Jam, Metallica, I was listening to Nirvana yesterday. So any of that, all about it.
This is off to such a good start. I mean, that's the perfect answer. Do you have a go-to song or go-to group? Do you listen to music pregame or game day?
I have Pandora, and I mean, this is a good and bad thing, but my Pandora knows me. So I click a couple of stations, and it just plays the music. And so you'll see 90s hip-hop, 90s R&B, 90s country, 90s alternative rock. And I just play it, and it knows me.
I think about that all the time. Like, nobody knows me as good as Pandora, and
It's
Facebook
scary.
knows me.
It's scary.
It's a little bit scary. I'm like, yeah, Pandora nails it every time. I'm like, gosh, you know me. I don't know anybody in my life that could play a list of music that I like better than that.
Pandora, Spotify know me better than my wife. It's a scary, scary deal.
All right, we got to get to football now. That's what we're talking about. The offense got going a little bit last week. What worked so well for you guys, and how nice was it to see things start to click for you guys?
I think what happened in week one, and I got to do a better job as a coach, but I think week one we were a little tight. We were, number 17 or number 15, whatever they were ranked coming in. So I think we were like, man, it's home. It's our first home game, new jerseys, a ranked opponent. I think guys were a little bit tight. And we played well, but we struggled on third downs. And when you take the tightness of the game situation and then you put on top of that third downs, I think it came a little bit too much for them. Whereas game 2, 3, I think we relaxed a little bit. I think guys were able to just kind of say, you know what, regardless of who we're playing, let's just go out and execute.
I got to tell you, I love those jerseys. What goes into the jersey decision process? Because I saw those and I was like, those are my favorite jerseys I've seen over here.
I kid you not. Coach Rawl, Coach Hartwell, and my wife are like my 3 fashion consultants. I can't dress myself. I wear the same bottoms and the same tie. I just rotate them. But no, we after last year, I couldn't wear those jerseys again. And if I can identify something as looking terrible, then I promise you everybody in the stadium did. But no, I like our new look, the new helmets, the new jerseys, and we got a couple combos that have not been released yet. So just stay tuned.
I will be.
Yeah.
I love seeing those jerseys, and I've heard there's new ones coming, and I can't wait to see those. I want to talk about Ezekiel Lang, wide receiver. He's been pretty big for you guys the last 2 games. What's kind of allowed him to come out the last few weeks and to kind of contribute and make a difference, really?
Really, the biggest thing overall on our team is like the guys that have success, in my opinion, at Division II are guys that are grateful. Ezekiel Lang's a guy that's just grateful for the opportunity. He's grateful to get his school paid for, So there's, when we ask him to do something, it's not like, oh, man, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, how do you want me to do it? Like sometimes you're scared to ask him because he's going to ask a billion questions on how to do it. But no, he is one of those guys on our team that love football. They love every part of it. They love practicing. They love weightlifting. He truly just loves every part of the game.
I said on this podcast, and everybody that asked about Missouri Southern football, I said this is the most excited I've been about a Missouri Southern football team. I've been doing this since 2014, 2015, somewhere around there. Can you kind of sense the confidence growing in the guys and that, you really kind of got it going in the right direction?
No, you know what? I do. The biggest thing for me is I'm so close to it. I see us every day. So I still see every little flaw. I'm like, oh, we got to get this, man, we got to get this. And people on the outside are like, oh my gosh, you guys are so much better. And I'm like, yeah, we're better, but man, if we don't get, you know what I mean? And the coach lens comes on and how close I am to it. I'm super excited of the direction we're going, and we just got to just keep taking the baby steps in the right direction.
I want to talk about when you were hired to to come back to Southern. What did you see in the program when you got back here, got back to town, and really went to work? And what are some of the biggest changes that you were like immediately like, this is what we need to do here to get started?
Well, the biggest thing I saw was there was no identity, and there was a loss of identity because there was no stability in the head coaching position. I mean, this university has had, I think I'm the 8th head coach in almost 12 years. And so it's impossible for a program to develop an identity when the head coaches continue to revolve. So I just wanted to come in, create standards. Here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to do it. If you want to be a part of it, come on. If you don't, bye. The guys will tell you, I didn't run anybody off. It wasn't like, oh, these are old staff. You got to go, you got to go. No, I mean, these are kids. You know what I mean? Like they crave structure, they crave discipline, and they want to win. So it was real easy. A lot of guys adopted to it, and some other guys took off.
You talk about different coaches here. Just in the time I've been here, like 7 or 8 years, almost 8 years. You're the 4th guy I've seen as the head coach here.
We got to break that trend. I got to hang around for a little bit.
It's felt right. When you were hired, anybody that asked, I said that is the right guy for Missouri Southern. It's not that the coaches before you weren't good coaches, but I know Missouri Southern means something to you, and I do my job, and I work too much, and I care. I care a lot because I care about what I'm doing. I think there's something different about somebody. It makes those late nights easier when you love where you're at and when there's something more to what you're doing. Will you talk about that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, and it's natural as coaches to always look at your career path. And so you're always going, all right, if I take this job and I do well, I can get this job. And when that job opens up, I'll go get this job. And then this is my dream destination. As I've gotten older, this is my dream destination. I'm back home. I'm around friends and family. I'm getting a chance to put our program on the map, put it in a position that it hasn't been in a very long time. And so all those things are appealing to me. And so I'm not looking to use this to jump to school A, school B. I got kids. I'm trying to get through high school, and I was fortunate. I grew up in the same house from kindergarten to high school. I had some of the same friends, and so as a father, I want to provide that for my kids, tie that into Missouri Southern, and trying to get us to a championship level. It's going to take some time. It just all works out. It all blends. So, this is more than just a job to me. I'm an alum. So win, lose, or draw, I still got to come back for homecomings and games. So I need people to look at me and high-five me and not be like, oh, man, he messed it up, But no, it's a big deal for me.
I think it's hard to explain to people, kind of what you just said unless you've lived it. Because people ask me, like, what are you still doing here? Why haven't you tried to move on? And it's like, well, it means a lot to me to do a good job for the people that I know care about what's happening. It doesn't matter if it's a bigger audience. Right. You're doing a good job for the people who care about what you're doing.
100%. And as long as and that's the thing is, so you take pride in what you're doing and where you're at, things will take care of itself, and that's the thing that I've always thought and believed in. And, like I said, for me, it's getting this place on the map. The other thing that I had a bad taste in my mouth as a player. I graduated as a senior, and our head coach passes mid-season. And I truly believe, had he not passed, I wouldn't even have an opportunity at this job because I think Missouri Southern was on the right trajectory then. And so it's a little unfinished business for me. Got a little chip on my shoulder.
We talk about your time. How much did you keep an eye on Missouri Southern? How much did you keep track of what was going on, who was there, things like that?
Yeah, no, we definitely did. We have a group chat of all the guys that played together, and we would text the scores and, man, what's going on here and who did this. And for a while there, it got kind of hard, because everybody always asks, "Oh, Coach, where'd you play ball?" And you're like, "I'm Missouri Southern," No, and so I mean, but you want to be proud of the place you played, and so there was a couple years, couple games where you're like, man, it's tough to rep the green and gold. But no, we've always kept in touch with Missouri Southern and kind of kept an eye on it.
One of the things that when people ask, why are you excited about this Missouri Southern team, and it's the same for for a lot of other schools. I get connected with some of these local athletes when they're 15, 16, when they can't do an interview, and they don't know how to handle the camera, don't know how to handle the microphone, and I get when they go to local schools, I get to see them, become captains, become leaders for the local college, and be leaders of a college program, and stand up at the podium like Coleman. That's what is that important to you? It makes me more interested, as somebody who covers local sports, and so I know it has to make fans more interested. Is that a big deal to you to make sure to at least get some of the best local talent here to to kind of drive community interest? Is that something that you think about?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, your fan base, your fan audience, you always want to stay fairly local. So not that California, Florida, Texas, Southern Texas, not that it doesn't have great football, but how often can I get a fan from California to come over? How often can I get a guy from, Miami to drive up to see his son play? And so, when we recruit within this 5-hour bubble that we have, I mean, that gives us Dallas, St. Louis, Kansas City, and 5 hours is doable. You can drive over the morning of, watch a game, and drive home if you want, or stay the night. And so that part is huge. The other driving factor that, I'll be quite honest, kind of pissed me off when I got here is last year we play Arkell Smith, who's from Carthage. He tears us up. The kid that got drafted from there was from Webb City. Northwest Missouri. So I'm sitting there playing all these good players. Zeke Wall. I'm playing all these good players from my backyard that I know half of them, and similar to you, it's like, hey, I've been watching you. And so part of me being here now, it's like, hey, stay home. We're going to put a good product on the field. You don't have to run 4 hours away to play good football. We got you right here. And so, yeah, it does. It means more to keep those kids home because they're as good athletes as anywhere. If you take some of these kids and put them in Florida, honestly, they might get more exposure and they might become national recruits. But, yeah, we got to keep these kids home.
You kind of touched on it there at the end. I don't think people who aren't in Southwest Missouri understand. I mean, it's an overlooked area. Even though we have some of the the most tradition-rich programs in Southwest Missouri, it still feels like it's overlooked, and I don't really know why because it's proven time and time again to have players.
And I'm going to pull some crazy numbers, and I don't. They're not. Don't fact check me, but that year Lamar went and played Trinity Catholic. Trinity Catholic, I believe, had 4 players that are playing in Power 5. Lamar High School has no business beating them. But the fact is they beat them, and they beat them soundly, and it's because we got good football too. We may not have the 5 stars, but in terms of quality, tough kids, Southwest Missouri, Southeast Kansas, Northwest Arkansas, I mean, it's good football.
We talk about your relationship with some of the high school coaches around here. Being a guy that's been here, is that? Yeah. I don't want to say does it make it easier, but is that kind of part of what attracted you here? Is that you kind of have some of those relationships formed already with local people and local coaches?
Well, I think it does a little bit. The part that makes it easier is they know what I'm about. They know my character. They know, if they send a kid to me, they know how that kid's going to get treated in my program. The thing that makes it hard is there's so many quality schools in the state of Missouri, right across the border. So if you're a kid that's in Southwest Missouri, you've got all the schools that surround Kansas City. You've got that school that's west of us by about 15 minutes. You got us, so you got a lot of options. And probably the biggest negative when you're recruiting local is some kids want to go away. And not because they don't like Missouri Southern or they just want to go away to get the college experience. And so sometimes that's a factor. But no, these coaches in the area know what I'm about. They know that if they send a kid my way, he's going to get treated well. I'm really big on my coaches giving really exact feedback on recruits and letting the kid know, letting the coach know, hey, here's where we're at. We're not going to do the area wrong. I mean, this is where we're going to build our program off of.
Last question I have for you. It's another one of those. It's kind of like we talked about Southwest Missouri. Unless you're here, you don't understand it. Yeah. And I don't think people that don't cover, play, or are associated with the MIAA understand that this is. I mean, you can call it Division II, but this is kind of an open-ended question because you've coached elsewhere and you know the players and you've recruited these players. How good is this league and how good are the teams and the coaches and talk about the MIAA in your view.
You know what, the MIAA, I tell you what, it reminds me so much of like the FCS league, in that I think we do a better job than the Power Fives developing talent. And so, man, these kids, by the time that they are 4th or 5th year seniors, I think they could play at almost any level. And so it's tough. I mean, you're week in and week out, you're battling, but there's no doubt in my mind that our top 4 teams in our league could go give some Division I schools a lot of trouble. I grew up in a time where the MIAA was bigger than the Missouri Valley. So if you think about the South Dakota States, North Dakota State, South Dakota, North Dakota, those were all Division II schools. Missouri State was the lone FCS program, and they were terrible. I think Pitt beat them back in the 90s. So it's just been late the last probably 10 years that the Missouri Valley has really come on and emerged. But no, the MIAA is legit now, and you're exactly right. Everybody says, "Oh, it's D2." Oh, okay, well, yeah, it would be nice if we would open our schedule and allow us to go play one FCS game and allow us to go play some non-conference. But the powers that be, man, they want to keep this. They want to keep this, this fight,
That's
locked
where I was
up
going
and
with my next question.
open it
'cause
up.
I can't stand it.
Open it up.
When the playoffs get here, and I'm certain I know because I've seen them that this 3rd, 4th, 5th best teams could go play with almost any of these teams, and it's really frustrating. It was when they went to the closed MIAA schedule. I was like, oh well, it's nifty, because we know what. And then after a couple of years, like there are really good football teams that don't get a chance to kind of show it.
Well, you get 3 losses, and all of a sudden you're praying on Selection Sunday. And I'm sitting there going, I would love to see Kearney go play the NSIC, go play Wayne State, go play Mankato, go play some of those schools up there. Let us and Pitt go play South and play in some of those Oklahoma, Arkansas league. Let's truly see some head-to-head with some of these leagues that surround us and see if they can hold up. But yeah, open the schedule. I'd love to see 3 non-con or 2 non-conference games, a bye week, and then a seven game schedule in the league.
I don't know what the future is for that. I don't know if it's a discussion. I know we've talked about it, but
it's above my pay grade.
Oh yeah, definitely me too. But as much as I would love to see it, because then I think people would kind of understand what the MIAA is about. Coach, I appreciate you taking the time. I know you're a busy guy. I know you're going to have to, get on the road, take a long trip to Hayes. The Lions on the road against Fort Hays State this weekend. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time. Good luck this weekend.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, I'm serious. That guy really is the perfect fit for Missouri Southern, and just being at his introductory press conference and hearing how he spoke about Missouri Southern and his feelings, about the university and about the city of Joplin and about Southwest Missouri and the whole 4-state area. It took no time. It took 20 seconds to figure out that this guy was the right person for the job, and he's, what I really like about him is when he took the job, he was very honest about where the program was and, spoke, I don't want to say was careful with his words, but, he said the right things at the right time. And hearing, going out to, spring practice this year or when they opened fall practice, his tone kind of changed. He was, he started speaking with a little more confidence. And that was my first, the first thing that tipped me off that, okay, these guys might be out to win some games, and they might beat some teams this fall that that people don't think they're supposed to. So they're only getting better. He's the right guy for this job, and you heard him. This means something to him, and when it means something more to you than being a football coach, when the place means more to you. Like I said, it's a little bit easier to put in those late hours and that extra work that it takes to win in a tough league. The Pittsburgh State Gorillas, staying with the college game, they're 3-0. They're going to be at Emporia State this weekend. Last time out, they beat Northeastern State 49-14. Sophomore running back Caleb Lewis. I've been waiting for this game from him, man. 153 yards and a touchdown. He looked loose. I've been waiting to see him, kind of get loose, to kind of get a little swag going, get his, look fast. He looked fast. He looked quick. It was great to see that from him. Pittsburgh State was ranked number 16 last week in the national rankings. With that win, they've moved up to number 14. They'll be on the road against Emporia State. That game begins at 1 o'clock. So I love it. I've said this to everybody. My job is so much more fun when both of our college teams are really good. If both of them keep winning, we're going to have ourselves a rivalry game here in a couple weeks, and I can't wait for that. It's hard to explain to people, when you cover both teams and you're around both coaching staffs and you're around the guys, and both teams have local guys that I've covered for years. It really is. It's like you have two friends and you're bringing them together to meet each other for the first time. You like this guy, and it's like bringing friends together. It's a cool feeling for people who cover sports in the 4 states to see this rivalry game and to kind of see two teams that you care about. All right, that's it. Don't forget 4 State Friday night, 10 o'clock. 4 State Friday night technically begins at 10:20, but it's the second half of our 10 o'clock news on Friday night. Check us out. We'll have highlights and scores from all across the area. That's about 10 minutes of high school football highlights and scores, 12. I don't know the exact number. It's somewhere around there. And then Press Box at 11 on Fox 14. That's a 30-minute show. I mean, we send as many people as we can to as many games as we can. We do highlights, scores. I mean, we try to at least show the score for every single team that we cover in the area. So that's a 30-minute show, 11 o'clock on Fox 14, Press Box. Go check it out. One more time, I want to thank our sponsors, Jock's Niche, Carnes Pro Tire, Neosho Memorial Regional Medical Center, and McGavern Financial Group. Neosho Memorial Regional Medical, they're not paying me for me personally for any, but listen, I broke my arm. I was being an idiot. It was my wrist. They fixed me up. And I was also born there. I don't have memories of that, obviously. I remember when they fixed my arm, I was also born there. So they know what they're doing. All right? I don't know. Do we need to send them a bill now for okay. So I'll stop. Thanks for listening. Join us Friday night. Please check out the Pigskin preview on our website. You can listen to old episodes of this podcast on koamnewsnow.com/pigskin. Thanks for checking us out. We're out of here.
Neosho Memorial in Chanute welcomes another outstanding general surgeon to its surgery center. Dr. Law joins surgeons in the field of urology, orthopedics, women's health, and general surgery. Neosho Memorial in Chanute, offering the latest technology close to home.
The advisors at McGavern Financial Group have been helping people invest today for a more enjoyable tomorrow since 1984. In Joplin, see Earl or Mike. In Pittsburgh, see Earl or Steve. McGavern Financial Group. Invest today, enjoy tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to KOAM Presents. For the latest content and local news, weather, and sports, please go to koamnewsnow.com.